Liverpool are after the £17 million midfielder. Liverpool signed a midfielder this summer, and now the last name in the limelight is Luka Sušić. With key players injured, Anfield club has to strengthen the midfield, and reports are now saying they want to hire the young Croatian international from Salzburg. According to reports, the Reds want to strengthen their midfield department and secure Sušić's signature. The 19-year-old was quite impressive in the win over Liverpool last month, and Jürgen Klopp was not disappointed with the young player's performance. The news source stated that Sušić will eventually be the next big talent to leave the Austrian side and move to a big club in Europe. Like Sesko, his departure will likely be at the end of the current campaign. It is known that Liverpool's key players are approaching their 30s, and captain Henderson is already a senior. Klopp wants to refresh the players in the centre of the park, which is why the young Croatian is on Anfield's radar. Sušić can play effectively as central midfielder and offensive midfielder, scoring 11 goals and providing 5 assists in all competitions for Salzburg last season. In addition to the Merseysiders, the young star, who is on the radar of Milan and Juventus, played in 3 matches for the national team. He is also linked to the versatile star at Newcastle, who is worth around £17 million and whose current contract expires in 2025. Do you think Liverpool should take action with a £17 million bid to sign Luka Sušić? Liverpool can raid Everton's goal. Liverpool are said to be considering hijacking Everton's efforts to sign Idrissa Gueye. The Paris Saint-Germain midfielder is heavily linked to joining the Toffees this summer, but the transfer to Goodison Park skidded despite the player accepting a pay cut. According to the allegations, Liverpool are planning to miss another target, as with Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz was due to head to Tottenham Hotspur in January of this year, joining the Reds after Jürgen Klopp and Julian Ward's bid at Kirkby. Liverpool should not deliberately sabotage Everton's attempts to strengthen their roster in the name of Merseyside rivalry alone. But Klopp desperately needs another midfielder, and PSG's willingness to undermine Gueye and the player's Premier League provenance doesn't take much imagination to see him at Anfield. Yep, he's also 32 years old and well out of profile for what Klopp, Ward, and the Reds expedition team are looking for. But it's also cheap, accessible, and clearly desperate for something different, a willingness to accept less pay to join Everton in the first place. I think Liverpool needs a mega transfer for midfield in the long run, for example someone like Jude Bellingham. But in the short run, Gueye would do well, with 134 Premier League appearances. Another injury for Liverpool. Despite one game being played in the new season, Liverpool is already struggling with injuries. Klopp knows his side still needs to be enough to beat Fulham, but he may legitimately be cursing his luck at the start of the new campaign. The situation in the midfield is such that transfer calls have increased a lot in recent days. Naby Keita is recovering from illness, while Thiago is the latest to be added to the absentee roster, joining Curtis Jones and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Now, there was another setback, this time on the defense. Joel Matip has reportedly been taken as a precaution from yesterday's training due to a groin problem. He will now face a race against time to be eligible for Monday's meeting with Crystal Palace. The absence of Ibrahima Konate off the field could present a rare opportunity for Joe Gomez. Klopp said at the start of the season, "Joe is in an extraordinary situation right now. When I got back to AXA, I saw him and my first thought was, wow. He's in a very good place physically, and now all he needs is a good pre-season and finding his rhythm." A few weeks ago, Gomez penned a new long-term contract, which was a surprising move for some, given last season's limited playing time and intense rivalry with Virgil van Dijk, Joel Matip and Ibrahima Konate at the centre-back. Having a chance to be at this club is a difficult decision to give up. "I had to take on the challenge," the 25-year-old said last month. The pre-season has come and gone, but Matip has taken his place back with Van Dijk, where he's been for most of last season, and Konate joins Gomez on the bench for a Community Shield win over Manchester City. Of course, it was the Van Dijk-Gomez partnership who played together for most of the 2019-20 championship season. It's easy to forget how few games Gomez played for Liverpool in the 7 years he spent at the club. Of the 142 matches, only 67 were at the heart of the defence, of which only 38 made it to the Premier League. Long injuries, a fight for space and a key right-back talent where Gomez has shown himself to be a talented substitute for Trent Alexander-Arnold are the reasons for these surprisingly low numbers. Still, Monday could be a chance to start addressing those shortcomings, especially as the World Cup approaches and England are struggling to find consistent centre-back options. Three Lions boss Gareth Southgate has previously revealed that Liverpool minutes are the key to Gomez's recall of Qatar. The Reds defender knows very well from his own experience how quickly normal starting roles can be lost due to untimely injuries. If Matip doesn't show up on Monday, it will be the opportunity Gomez has been waiting for almost 2 years to come back. Darwin Nunez began to show himself. He has already hit the net twice for Liverpool, but Darwin Nunez is hitting the right grades in more ways than one. The Uruguayan striker was thrust into the spotlight of European football after signing for the Reds in a deal that could rise to £85 million. The 23-year-old wasted no time in making an impact on both his teammates and fans. Like many new signings before him, Nunez had to take on a karaoke singing assignment as part of his introduction to Jürgen Klopp's side. All fears about the new boy's hesitation to come out of his shell soon dissipated. Efforts to help establish the new offensive focus were aided by the small gesture of Mohamed Salah. Although the team's penalty shooter was Salah, Darwin Nunez left the penalty won against Leipzig. This small gesture was one of the events that helped him get used to the team. He helped the team by scoring goals against Manchester United in the Community Shield and Fulham in the opening game of the league. In addition, it should not be forgotten that both of them started the game on the bench. Nunez really got off to an impressive start to his Liverpool career. As it will be remembered, the goals he missed in the first friendly match and the fact that he missed a few balls were on the agenda. But boss Klopp stood by him and said he wasn't ready yet. After this support, Nunez had a burst of self-confidence and managed to influence every match he played. In addition to the goals he scored, his contribution to the team cannot be ignored. In the Fulham game, Salah's role before the goal and a few tries was one of the elements that ignited the team. Although he was included in the game later in 2 official matches, it cannot be said that it was a long time before he was in the first 11 with his performance in a short time after entering. It is already eagerly awaited whether Nunez will be in the starting lineup of the Reds, who will face Crystal Palace on Monday.